Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wedding Chat with Jeremy Brech and Dave Ternier.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Dave, how you doing today?
I'm all right. You?
I'm doing good. You know, it was kind of funny because we talked earlier this morning, and we're like, hey, let's test, because I got some feedback, which is always great. I love getting feedback and people saying, hey, you need to fix your audio, that type of thing. So hopefully tonight the audio is better. Mike Walter, thanks again for the tip on the audio thing. I have my nice EV mic right here beside me, and hopefully you guys can hear me tonight. So, as you know, DJs need to have good audio, and I just didn't have it. I didn't bring it. So hopefully I'm bringing it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So how was your week, Dave? What did your weekend all consist of?
My week to this point's been decent. Had a great networking night here with the CPDGA in Winnipeg last night, so we had a nice crowd turnout for that. Always fun. I seem to have a thing about hanging out with DJs that I really enjoy, so that was good. And had a wedding.
Is that a networking thing where a bunch of you guys get together and come to one location, or do you guys do it online?
These are in-person get-togethers. So yeah, there was 26 of us gathered last night. So it was a good size meeting.
Cool.
And just kind of shot the breeze for the most part. This was kind of by design, just to be, let's just get together, a lot of new people there. So just get to know each other, that type of thing. And yeah,
Nice.
I've learned a lot of things over the years when it comes to getting DJs together. And if there's one overarching thing I've learned most, it is that without any form of relationship whatsoever, most topics will go south pretty quick. So
yeah. We see that on Facebook, don't we?
That we do. So yeah, it was a good time. Just no real agenda, just chatting with people, just trying to put people in the same room together who had never been in the same room, even though they might work in the same city. So it was a good time. Yeah.
Cool. So you talked about the conversations going south. What are some of the things that come up in your meetings? You don't have to talk about the ones that all go south, but what are some of the big topics that you guys talk about? I know that we were going to touch base a little bit on some of the things, but what are some of the big discussions you guys have?
The most common ones are probably social media and people's love-hate relationship with having to keep up on that when it comes to their business pages.
Yeah.
Sales is another one that people often struggle with, a lot of the time struggle with, I think. Whether that's always their number one priority, I sometimes, whether that should be their number one priority, I sometimes struggle with. As you know, I mean, you and I are pretty big on performance being a huge sales tool.
Yep.
But that, and then there's the standard things like pricing and, for all the Canadians, tuning in, Connect music licensing and the storm that brings. But yeah.
So do you guys just have like a bunch of Celine Dion? Is that like your main music selections that you have? And
you know what, Celine and a lot of Nickelback. You might have
really
heard of
Are they from Canada? Or do you guys just do Nickelback?
Alberta, heart of country music country, is where Nickelback is from.
Oh, yeah, that's how you remind me.
Oh, wow. Actually, hold up. Quick thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of what you just did, where you ended a sentence with a song title at the networking night last night, one of the hilarious things that happened, and I encourage this, Jer, if you do a staff thing or whatever you might do, or even networking nights in your area, would everybody go around and introduce themselves? And at the end of one guy introducing himself, he ended quite naturally with a song title that was the end of his sentence.
Oh, cool.
And he kind of got applause. And I stopped and went, okay, everybody, from now on, you end your introduction with a song title. Go.
Nice.
And yeah, it was hilarious. I guess because this is our show, I'll just use what mine was last night. I said, hi, everybody, I'm Dave. I'm special request weddings. I'm a single op guy. And the center of the world, the center of the universe, Minnedosa, Manitoba. And I said, yeah, I've been a DJ for 20 years this month, which Jer is in fact true. 20 years ago, I think it's in the last show. And I said, yeah, the first year I DJ'd a lot. I spun a lot of the Spice Girls. So I simply ended with, yeah, I'm a real DJ, not a wannabe.
Nice. So what does make a wannabe? What makes a real DJ? Well, let's save that one because I know we have some things that we wanted to kind of talk about. And you kind of talked about a little bit, you know, in your discussions with your group, you talked about sales and one of the things I think came up in the questions last time we were on was how do you sell and what's the difference in sales between a single op and a multi-op, or what is the challenges in a single op and a multi-op? So I think that's one topic we definitely want to hit.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I got to drink something.
You go drink something, and I'm going to pull up actually the exact wording that caused that topic to come up with.
Yeah. Go. Well, I'm out in the other office, so I have no water nearby.
No water. God, sorry, folks. You can tell this is a new show. We don't come prepared. I mean,
we don't bring our water.
I mean, sorry, Joe. I'm going to out you here for a quick second, just because we love to have fun. Just prior to everything going live here, Jer was like half sitting in the dark, and we're like, "Come on, man! Like, you're the lighting guy. What the hell?"
So yeah, let me show everybody. This is, and actually, I don't know if anybody else has these. I'm gonna have to unplug it, but it's maybe we can get it in the shot. We can't get it in the shot. The Eve Fresnel F50. It's a zooming Fresnel. We just got 6 of these in, and we have a really cool lighting coming up that we're going to be using them for, which I talked to you a little bit about. And you know, if you haven't seen these fixtures, they're a very simple fixture, but man, can they do an amazing job. And it's all about how you use it.
Sorry, what did you call it? What kind of fixture was it? Because I never heard of that word before.
A Fresnel starts with an F, ends with a L. So basically, it's like a theatrical light, and you'll see it a lot in like newscasts. Actually, why don't you pull up your thing? And because I don't want to take this light out because it will make me go dark. Maybe I could show you exactly how powerful this light is. I'll just pull it. It'll go dark for a little bit, not like pitch dark, but hang in there.
Okay, hell yeah, no worries. Jared, the lighting guy, always up in the latest and greatest. Lighting is not a big part of my world. This is called live TV, folks.
This is not scripted whatsoever. So this is the Fresnel. Again, you've probably seen these hanging in news stations. You've seen them hanging at when the sports people are doing their thing.
Got it.
Basically, it's a warm LED, and it has a 50-degree throw, and you can zoom it into a 19-degree throw.
Wow.
And it's a soft edge. So that was one of the biggest questions. You know, why would I use this instead of a ellipsoidal? This is a nice soft edge. Like, it bleeds perfect. But it's a phenomenal light. It's got the PowerCon connection. It's got the D-Fi USB. It's got the zooming knob, and then also you can DMX them together. So, yeah. So there is a shop time video out. Not yet, because I haven't started the shop time video on it yet. I'll get some out there. I did just launch a video on shop time, though. You'll have to check that out. Take it away, Dave. I'm going to hook myself back up.
Okay. So last week, Jordan, I apologize if I butchered that name. I hate getting names wrong. It's Golly or Gally? Let's go Golly. Anyway,
you can't get mine right either.
He posted in the CPDJ Facebook group, how does everyone deal with their inquiries? He wrote inquiries in capital letters. I've been looking into my business systems in depth lately, and I'm sure there's so much more to learn from people who've been doing it for years. Is it all online? Do you have binders? Do you have a follow-up system? Eager to learn. And he kind of left it open-ended. So I shared with him my Getting FaceTime blog post, which details painfully clearly how I get the meeting. Jordan, thanks for the compliment. He wrote, this read is a game changer. And then he did follow up with, after educating myself a little more on the topic, I'm understanding inquiries are dealt with much differently for a single op versus a multi-op. So, Jer, as well as you and I know each other, I only know so much about your business because we often talk a lot of personal stuff. You know me, I'm a single op guy. I thought when I saw that comment of Jordan's, I'm like, well, maybe we can talk about this because you are a multi-op guy, I think.
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, we are a multi-op. So the thing that I kind of keep in mind is there's myself, which my name is on the company, and then there's all of my employees that work within our company. And not saying that they're not a part of our company, but when I sit down with a sales meeting, I have 2 options. I can sell myself or I can sell my team. And I have to, when we sell it, we sell the talent and we make sure that there's a good fit for people. So I don't sell people because, well, that's your price range. You'd be amazed how many people come in with an $800 budget and they end up booking at twice their initial budget. And that's kind of our starting level packages. So I think, the sale isn't any different. You don't approach it any different. I always, get to know my couples, and then I can find out at that point if they're a good fit for me or not. If they're not a good fit for me, there's somebody within my company, because we have so many different personalities. That's, to me, one of the most beneficial things when it comes to being a multi-op, is it allows me to find the right personality fit with them.
Okay. So talk to me here. What, so how many weddings can you take on a weekend? Just give me an idea.
We have 6 this weekend.
Okay. So to me, that's large.
Yeah. And we still have, and I mean, obviously I know I'm a lot smaller than some of these other big multi-ops. You look at Mike Walter and his team, and, SCE, you look at Jan-I's team, they can do multiple events. They're huge.
Okay. But you said something a minute ago, though. I'm going to interject here because I don't want to get too far past that. You said something about finding a right fit. I mean, with me, it's just me. I sell. I do an in-person consultation, or I do it, electronically with this. But how do you find? How do you determine whether someone is going to be a fit for one of your staff instead? And then how do you figure that out? Do you get the staff member or what?
So let me ask you this: have you ever turned somebody away and said, "You know what? I just don't feel we're the best fit"?
That was another topic recently in my world, the CPDJ Facebook group page. Actually, someone said, I need to do this. Has anybody ever done this? And I've done it once.
Yeah. And I'm really good at reading people. I can usually make that decision like before I even book them, so it's not like I booked the wedding and I'm like, you know what? I just realized we're not a good fit. So like I said, it's basically getting to know what they're looking for in their entertainer. Because we have entertainers who are amazing mixers. We have entertainers who are amazing MCs. We have some that are both. We have some that focus more on, this style of MC and this style of MC, or this style of music. Maybe they connect better with the couple. So when they start kind of creating their checklist of this is what we're looking for in our DJ, I'm going through my head and saying, okay, who's available first of all? And there's many times like I could have my full staff available on a certain day. And I've told people that, you know what, I think what you're looking for would be a better fit with company A. And I've sent a lot of people in that direction in the past, whether that be personality type. And it's really rare because, like I said, we have a very diverse group of entertainers. Sometimes it's budget. And there's times where, okay, go ahead.
It's okay. I want to drill into nitty gritty here for the sake of anybody who might be eavesdropping in on our conversation. So, like in-person consult, is that required even when it's just, for one of your staff members and not you? Like, how do you work that end of things?
So if someone says, hey, I want to book this person, I'm still going to meet with them. It's not like, okay, well, here's your contract. And I know a lot of the bigger companies, I know a lot of the big multi-ops. It's like, okay, great. There's business. We're going to check it off. Send it on. But I still like to sit down with people. And we've had that situation where they said, hey, I want to book Aaron for my wedding. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's sit down and let's just see if that is your best fit. And there's times, so I have him at a certain level. And there's times where it's like, you know what, truthfully, I feel that I think that Matt is your best option. And we will lose money on the sale, but at least I'm connecting him with the right person. So I'm willing to take a hit in the dollar amount and make sure that we connect with a personality. So that way, in the long run, they were happy and they feel like they got what they paid for.
Got it. So do you do every consult yourself?
Yeah. We had a couple of people that were working sales before. You remember Brett from our team?
Yes.
Yeah. So Brett was with us and he ended up he started bartending and working at a bar and doing beer sales and things like that. And that's been his dream. I mean, he wants to open up a brewery and all that stuff.
Nice.
So there was no hard feelings. I'm excited for him. I think he's doing a phenomenal job at what he's doing. But it really came down to, he was really involved in the sales. And then once he left, we kind of had that gap. I took a lot of the sales on. I brought in some people to kind of help with sales. but it just felt like, I needed to meet with those people because I know my DJs better than anybody else. I have a passion for this company more than anybody else that I've hired.
Okay. So I think one of the biggest differences that some people perceive between selling a multi-op and selling a single op is, well, you single op people, you meet with every client ahead of time, you do a consult, yada, yada. I think most multi-ops who are looking for advice, and then when they maybe, read that blog post that I wrote about how I get a meeting, I think some of them shy away and go, well, wait a second, I got 5 guys, 8 guys, 12 ladies, whatever it is that I have to get working every weekend. I'm not going to do that many consults, and they kind of balk at the workload. So
and I get that.
Take on, is that right?
What's that? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay. So I just want to be clear. That's something you take on. You do all those consults and
I said, I know my guys better than anybody. I know who's going to connect best with the specific client.
Okay.
And really, the people that they're like, you know what, I don't have time to meet with people. I'm just going to get their name, their number, their address, and I'm going to send them a bill. They're going to sign the contract. They're going to send it back to me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. Like, again, that's some people's processes, but
right.
How much are they charging? And I'm not like ripping on anybody, but are they charging $600? Are they charging $700? Then that might be the best process. And maybe that's why you're only making $600-700 at your weddings. Right. If you do take the time and show the value that you bring, that's huge.
Yeah. That deserves to be kind of, I think, bookmarked there for, again, anybody eavesdropping in here. I mean, people sometimes balk at the amount of time I spend on a consult, and I may or may not get the sale. But I think what people often forget is, don't worry, I'm being paid for that time.
Exactly.
It's not time I'm giving away for free. I mean, I charge accordingly so that I can afford that investment of time. And I think that's probably one of the stumbling blocks. I'm glad you kind of touched on that, between those who just, why would I meet with somebody? That's not worth my time.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. It might not be. And that's a decision you can make.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I think there's a lot of multi-ops. I think there's even single ops. There's a one-man person out there, or a one-man team, who is just saying, all right, you want to sign up? Awesome. Here's your contract. Go ahead and sign the contract. So I got to fly. Sign your contract, and I'll get back to you. I'm pretty sure there's single ops out there that are doing that. But the way and I think it goes back to the whole getting what you're worth thing. And making sure that people understand the value of what we do. One of the things that I reposted that Mark Farrell put up, and if you guys aren't familiar with Mark Farrell, go to markfarrell.com, marbecca.com. But he had posted on Facebook, he said, because we talked about this last time, there's different price levels for all my different entertainers. And the post that he posted last week was, it's not valuable because it's not valuable because it's expensive. It's expensive because it's valuable.
Right.
And to me, I think that was a huge, like, oh my gosh, that is the best way to explain things when people say, well, what's the difference? It's like, well, you know what? You're going to get audio no matter what package you pick. You're going to get lighting no matter what package you pick. You're going to get an MC no matter what package you pick. And, you kind of look at it, it's like, okay, think about it. If you can pay, let's talk NFL. Well, I know they're in a whole different place right now, but if you pick a quarterback who's going to the Hall of Fame, and I don't care if you're not a Tom Brady fan. Tom Brady, he proved himself last year. Now, why do you think Tom Brady is getting the dollars he is compared to the starting quarterback for the Browns? I don't even know who he is. But again, I mean, you look at the value of what he brings to the team and what he accomplishes and the results he creates. That's why he's getting paid more. So that's why in our business, the value of what my guys provide is the value that I give back to my couples. I'm not going to charge them the same amount because they don't do the same thing that I do.
Right. Quick reply to Christopher. Thanks, Christopher. By the way, Jared, just so you know, we've just gotten some compliments. Nice beards, boys.
Who is it? I gotta know who this is.
It's GNM Event Group. So what I'm dying to know is, was it Glenn or Miranda? You know what? It doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't matter as long as they like it.
Anyway, yeah. I got a hair doing something weird here. So, is there anything else I want to dig into on regarding sales and multi?
I think if people just keep asking questions about that, that's going to be an ongoing conversation, because I think that's going to be some of our biggest conversations that you and I have, because you are a multi, or you are a single op. I am a multi op, and like I said before, there's days where I love being a single op, or I wish I was a single op, and there's days I love being a multi op.
Yeah.
And again, I think we'll go into those discussions as we get further into the show.
Yeah, I will say this. I think one of the things that, whether you're a multi or a single, I think when people, complain about having not made a sale, or having something didn't work, about an inquiry not replying to them, or a consult didn't go well, or whatever, one of the things I want to touch on maybe quickly is, look, if you're gonna complain or make comment about that, or your price was too high or whatever, and you're going to get input from somebody, maybe like me, or maybe like Jer or somebody else, and you balk at the response you might get because there's a lot of work involved, newsflash, it takes work.
Absolutely.
You and I didn't start selling our services overnight, at what we do, how we do. I mean, it took a pile of work.
How much did you first charge for your first wedding? Your first wedding you ever did, how much did you charge?
That was 20 years ago, man. It kills me that I didn't keep a lot of those old little, I just used to write it down in these pathetic little forms that I made. Probably $175, something like that. Rings the bell. $225. I might have given myself a raise to $225 after a year or two.
Okay, that's where I was. I was at the age of 16. I'm doing my first wedding for $225.
Nice. And I was 16 as well. 17 at that point, probably. But
I didn't do weddings my first year. I started with school stuff. I started with school dances. I started with, conventions and
Air cadet dances, elementary school dances, and air cadet dances. Shout out to anybody that's ever been in air cadets. For the record, I was not, but I was friends with a bunch of people in high school, and who were all in air cadets. So we always played the air cadet dances, and so many good memories from those dances.
Dave, let's get to the topic. We can kind of transition from, we talked about the value and things like that. And I think so many people have started making the right movement of getting what you're worth. I think a lot of people are starting to move and realize that, there is a lot of work. There's a lot of time that goes into this, and I do need to start charging more. So the title of our picture was Undercutting. And that's one thing I really want to hit on, because, man, this has been a frustrating thing. And it's not about undercutting the DJ package. And we get people that are like, oh yeah, my price is $8,000. But if you are in the military, and trust me, I thank all military people, but it's like military discount. And then your cousin's name is Jane discount. We live in the same state discount, and it's like discount. Next thing you know, this $8,000 package is now like $1,200. That's kind of a pet peeve. And actually, my original pet peeve is, it used to be when you go into the bathroom to wash your hands and you put your hands under the sink for like 8 seconds until you realize it's not a motion censored sink. That used to be my pet peeve. This is my new pet peeve. So my new pet peeve is, and this has happened like at numerous events this summer for us. We got into photo booths a long time ago, and we never really pushed them, but they were going out. We were doing them here and there and so on. And we were going out for $1,200 an event. And we're not, again, it was one of those things. It's like, okay, a lot of people are getting photo booths, and that's cool. But then like our photo booth started slowing down, and then a lot of the other companies, we start seeing them at our events, and it's like, what the heck, we're not going to lower our price just because everybody else is undercutting. And that's, again, undercutting is one of the big things that I think a lot of people see. And we see it with uplighting. We see it with, we'll give you a full room if you book our DJ package. You're not gaining anything. All you did you value what you're bringing in, and you're saying that, well, my DJing really isn't good enough, so I'm going to bring you some extra lights. I'm going to bring you a full room of lights because I need something to cover up my entertainment.
Right.
It's those things that are really just like, they've really been pulling at me. Like I said, we've had a couple events this summer where other companies are bringing their photo booths to our events. And one of my guys asked, he's like, well, so what are you doing your photo booth for? And they're like, oh, we do it for $450. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't send someone out, pay them a reasonable wage, pay for paper, pay for fuel, and have my photo booth set up for that amount. I'm like, I'm not making anything. And this is business. I mean, this is how you feed your family. This is how I feed my family.
Yeah.
And to me, I've seen that trend really taking off. Like, a lot of people are throwing in photo booths, or they're doing it so cheap, and we can't even get our own photo booths there. It's like, okay, well, the least I can do is $750. They're like, yeah, this is still $300 cheaper. I'm never going to win that battle, because yes, I can sell what makes me different as an entertainer, but a photo booth prints out pictures. The end. I mean, that's really it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wish there's almost a getting what you're worth add-ons page or something out there that says, don't devalue how much investment you've made in your product, how much time you're putting into your product, your expenses. We had Garth Brooks, which we're going to get into. We had Garth Brooks here. He did 9 shows in the matter of 6 days. I can't wait to talk about this, because I'm not a country fan, but holy crap, I'll just put it that way.
Wait. You're from Sioux Falls and you're not a country fan?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Carry on.
So anyways, this organization called me and said, hey, they're having this going on before the event, and they want to do a photo booth. What can you do for us? I'm like, with an attendee, I would be looking at roughly $650, because I have to pay my guy for the amount of time being there. And they're like, oh, well, that's more than what they're going to want to spend. And I'm like, well, what are you thinking? They're like, well, we're thinking like right around 300. I'm like, I'm going to spend that just in paper, like for the whole weekend. So it just, that to me, that's one of the things I wish people would, if it's in my market, if it's in your market or whoever's market, get together and say, this is the value we bring to this event. When we bring a photo, this is what we're bringing.
Yeah.
How's that worth?
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I don't get involved in selling a whole lot of things that are maybe more commodity based, things as opposed to service, what have you. Having said that, I'm challenging myself recently in a few areas to make the most mundane things neat experiences. And I think even when it comes to selling, products like that as opposed to services, I think there's an opportunity to do that there. I mean, if people want an example, whether it's the contact form on your website, or whether it's how you send the book, paperwork out, or if you send out a planning package, what is the experience of opening that package? All of these types of things I think can lead to higher dollars. And yeah, they're fluff in a way, but even when it comes to photo booth, it's a business I don't do, so I apologize, I can't relate too much, but what can you do to make the experience of operating with that photo booth just remarkable?
Right.
Randy, I think, has talked at length, hasn't he, about they make their photo booth experience just remarkable because of the people they hire to run their photo booths.
You're talking about Randy Bartlett?
Yeah.
Randy, is that, you said Randy? Is that who?
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. I think it was him anyway, who he wrote somewhere, he's taken a very different approach to photo booths, and rather than, hiring someone that's got 2 feet and a heartbeat to run his photo booth, he hires real talent to run his photo booths, so that person creates this remarkable experience out of these people coming into the booth. Essentially this is a host of the photo booth, not just a button pusher, if we want to, compare that to DJs as well, right? Do you just show up and push buttons, or do you actually create an amazing experience out of people interacting with you?
Right.
So not that I'm going to harp on you and say, Jeremy, you should be doing that, but that, I mean, yeah, it's something I have a little experience with, and I guess because I don't sell a lot of those things, I don't get the frustrations you do because I'm not, competing with anybody in that world.
So let's use that as a segue. You talked about experience. You talked about an experience, giving someone, giving something above and beyond. Let's segue into
Apple.
Okay, did I tell you I had to buy my first Apple computer?
Whoa, okay, what? Okay, for the okay, go on.
But that's it. That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying. Okay, so experience. You mentioned Garth Brooks. You despise country. What, respectfully?
I don't want to say I despise it because my wife likes it, so that would mean I would just basically despise my wife, which I don't. But so I backstory. I'm not a big country fan. I know country because I have to, not because I want to. I know, a lot of the popular artists. I know a lot of the 80s country. I know the older country. I know a good genre. And like I said, if I have a client who sits down with me and says, "Oh my gosh, we want country all night,"
Right.
Yeah, I'm not your guy.
Got it.
But one of the things that was kind of intriguing to me, Jason Jani and myself, as we were creating Mobile Beat a couple of years ago, he talked about going to Garth Brooks and how he was as a performer, and also listening to Mike Walter as he talks about in his music history. Which, if you do not have music history, if I did already say it, then I'm plugging it again. But music history is obviously very important. Oh man.
Sorry, Mike.
Actually, I talked to Mike. He said he would be a guest on our show, so we can talk about it then. But
nice. Okay.
Yeah. So he talks about Garth Brooks, and he talks about basically the revelation the revolution that Garth Brooks created in the country music industry back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And how he became to what he is today as this country legend. And I always love a good performer. And I heard so much about how a performer he was, and I took away so much from that. And I don't want to say everything because I actually wrote about it in the Disc Jockey News upcoming here in October. The title is "What I Learned from Garth Brooks," or "What I Learned from Garth." And a couple things that really jumped out to me is, there were certain things in the production that I was like, okay, that was cool. And then there were certain things that I'm like, I probably would have done that different.
Like seriously, you were like the DJ at the wedding, and never mind.
I know.
Carry on.
But the thing that I really was blown away by was, I don't know if you've ever been to Garth Brooks, or maybe it was just this setup, but Garth Brooks, his stage it's basically in the round. There's people sitting back behind him, and my sister got these tickets. Well, he sold out 9 shows in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We have a total of 175,000 people, and he sold out 9 shows. Wow. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're the only person in Sioux Falls that doesn't like country music.
That doesn't like country. That is correct. Yeah. But again, I mean, Mitch, I talked to all these guys and they're like, oh my gosh, he's such a great entertainer. Well, he entertains in the round. He has these people sitting back behind him. My sister got the tickets. I said, thank you so much for not getting those tickets. So it starts out where the LED screens, the video screens, basically are right in the middle of the stage. And then all of a sudden, as this intro video kicks in, it starts moving up. And I got to tell you, I was so excited to see this concert kick off as you watch this intro video, because it's basically the history. He retired and then he comes back and he does, boom, boom, boom. It was amazing. So I love the fact that there was just so much energy building up to it. And I think that's a lot of the stuff that we miss as DJs is, you have the grand entrance of the bride and groom. But are you building that up? Are you creating that anticipation? Is the bride and groom going to come out and be like, oh my gosh, this is so much more than what I expected. I love the fact that he worked the entire room. If you had the worst seat in the house, you still felt love. And he was back behind the stage. He was singing to them. He was making them feel like they were the only people in that arena. And to me, that was the thing that I really took away from that concert. And again, I knew a lot of the songs because this is it's Sioux Falls. I have to know these songs.
Well, and it's Garth. I'm sorry, but even if you don't live in a country area, everybody knows a Garth song. Hello.
Yeah. So, like I said, that was my biggest takeaway. I really appreciated how much of an entertainer he is. I mean, he's 55. He's running all over the stage. He's jumping on this big globe ball thing over the drum set. You know, he's shaking that thing, and I was truly amazed by how much of an entertainer he was. And again, I think a lot of people overlook that, you know, he does this every single night. There was some days that, being 9 shows, he had 2 shows in a row, but he made every single show like it was the last show he was going to do, and it was the first show he's ever done.
Yeah.
To me, that was just.
Yeah, those are great lessons. Garth was on my bucket list for a long time. I was a huge fan of his in the 90s. In fact, might be the very first cassette I ever bought was his somebody will have to help me out here. I don't remember the name of the album, but it's got like Garth Brooks' face in the front, and it's got like the stars and stripes over his face.
It was the greatest, wasn't it? Wasn't that his greatest hits?
Maybe it was, yeah. See? Even Jared, who's not a country fan.
That's right.
Anyway, I'd want to see Garth for ages. And then when he announced this big comeback tour, I'm like, Kat, my wife, Catherine, we got to go see this show. So, Mitch telling you to go see it. It was actually Catherine and I drove down to Minneapolis, met up with Mitch and his wife, Michelle.
Oh, that's right.
Chris Hintz and his girlfriend, Holly.
Yeah.
And it was a remarkable experience. But he absolutely does play to everybody. And being able to work with a room when your back is to part of the audience is a real skill and a talent. And I'll maybe quickly mention, I was on a phone call with a DJ out of Ontario a couple of days ago where actually this topic kind of came up because we were talking about the longevity dance and doing the anniversary dance or longevity dance, whatever you want to call it, at a wedding. And he said, well, Dave, you work by yourself, don't you? I said, yeah. He said, well, like, how do you do it all then? Like, how do you... he says, I interview the oldest married couple in the middle of the dance floor. But I mean, I then can't get back to my booth to play on the next song right away. And there's this awkwardness. And I said to him, oh, that's easy. Entertainment experience. He's like, what? I'm like, entertainment experience. Bill talks about staging so much. Yeah. And, I remember one of the things that I really took away from that, which Garth understands to a T, is, even when your back is to the audience, be aware of who's behind there. And then also be aware of what you can do while you're moving backwards. So my suggestion to this man was, look, I do an interview with with a couple in the middle of the dance floor. I'll bring the bride and groom out too. And then as I know I'm wrapping up, I'm starting to back away. And obviously I'm not going to run into somebody, but I'm starting to back away. So that by the time I'm done talking, I hit play on whatever is my next song.
So that actually brings up a good point. I called Bill today just to catch up. I always love catching up with Bill. And I talked about the entertainment experience with him. I talked about how this weekend, and I'm going to pull it up here quick. I'm going to see. Yeah, here we go. No, one more. I had a wedding that staging became such an important thing. So here's the thing. I'm going to share this screen so you can see.
Well, you're pulling that up. A few comments are, Dave, use an app, use a remote. I tried that once before, but yeah, it works. Just trust me. It makes you more cognizant, more aware of staging. And someone says virtual DJ app. Sorry, everybody, guys and gals. I'm a Serato guy. So
this was the wedding. And I said that we would touch a little bit on it. Maybe we'll bring this up next. Yeah, so this is the wedding we did this last weekend, but what I actually want to point out in this is the bride and her dress, okay? And this all comes down to staging and why staging is so important. So we had basically they came in for their grand entrance. Actually, let's talk about before they actually come in for their grand entrance. So all the guests were upstairs. So can you see my mouse?
Yep, it's in the middle of the screen there, the black area. Yeah.
Yep. So there's a couple things that we did for misdirection and staging. So first of all, for cocktails, all the guests were actually up here in the balcony, and the bride and groom got there on time for introductions. But what we wanted to do is give them the experience that their guests received, that their guests got when they got to see this for the first time. We wanted to give them that aha moment.
Oh.
this right here, this is the drape that we did on the backside. All of the guests were upstairs. The guests never even knew that the bride and groom were in the room. We opened the curtain. I made sure that the photographer and the videographer were waiting for them on the other side. They come through the curtain, and the bride was just in tears. And
Because she hadn't seen the room yet?
no, she had not seen any of it before.
Oh.
So she walks in and is just completely speechless. The groom starts getting choked up. And I'm there with the wedding planner, and I just look over here, and I, again, almost tears in my eyes. I'm like, we did our job. We created exactly what she wanted and exceeded that expectation. And that's what we try to shoot for every time. But anyways, so going back into, going into introductions, they all came in. So she got to see it without any guests, no purses laying down, no coats over the back, those type of things. She got to see it beforehand. And then right before dinner, their head table is up on a stage, and their head table took the entire stage. So you couldn't actually walk in front of the table on a stage. And she had this dress after her first dance, after her father, daughter, son, mother dance. She went and changed into a different dress, which is the dress you see right there. It's a nice, beautiful silver dress. It's amazing. Wow. And so I go back to make sure that she's ready to go. She's all ready. And I'm like, wow, that dress is stunning. I said, there's no way I'm going to make you just walk up to that head table and no one get to see this dress. And so I go out, I tell all the guests, I said, in just a moment, she's going to come back out here, and she has put on a new dress that she really wants to share with all of you. And this isn't my exact words, but basically building up the crowd. And so she and Cooper, her husband, they come out, and I did the blessing. So I had them join me out to the dance floor. Instead of being blocked by the head table, they come out and they stand next to me. But as they're coming out, she gets a standing ovation in this beautiful new dress. And you can just see Cooper, he's got this huge smile on his face, because he's like, yeah, this is mine. So again, I wanted to stage it so everyone had an opportunity to see this beautiful new dress that she came out in, and it wasn't blocked by a head table. And it was a really cool moment for her as well, because it made her feel like that princess. It made her feel that much special again. So again, wow, I completely agree. I think Entertainment Experience is one of the best workshops. That was such a game changer for me. And I encourage so many people to take it. So,
well, yeah, look at that picture, like bloody hell. That's
yeah. So I can flip through here a little bit. Yeah. Here's the top view. You can kind of get an idea. So we did a lot of textures.
Sorry, is it actually brighter than that, than the picture showing? I mean, I wouldn't be able to eat dinner there right now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically that's about how bright it was. And it's, when you're in there, it's a lot. I mean, you can see your food, you can see everything.
Okay.
But yeah, we basically just want to kind of set the tone with the lighting, and just adjust things accordingly. So yeah, it was an amazing wedding.
And this was a lighting only, or you DJ'd as well? Like you mentioned, you said something a moment ago, which sounded like you were emceeing it as well. So you were DJing it too?
Yeah. So they hired me to do the lighting design. And then in our conversations, again, it was, even if it's lighting, we want to do lighting. Okay, well, I want to get to know you. Getting to know her, it's like, okay, she's like, we're bringing in a band from Nashville. Again, huge country people. So they brought in a band from Nashville, and I'm like, okay, well, who's going to be running the event? Who's going to be making the announcements, guiding the event, working on the timeline with you? She goes, oh, we haven't thought about that. I'm like, okay, well, how about I can take care of the MC, and we'll go from there. She goes, perfect. And then about a month and a half later, she goes, hey, I was just thinking, the band's going to take breaks. Are you willing to play in between the breaks? I'm like, sure. So again, I charged a certain amount for it being an MC. I charged a certain amount for, filling in 2 half-hour breaks. And she's like, okay, well, when is tonight? It's 11 o'clock. I just finished my second session, or my second set. And, we're playing everything from 50 Cent to
the stuff the band won't play. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually I was playing Ignition by R. Kelly. And the lead guy from the band comes up. He's like, how are we supposed to follow this up? I'm like, just wait, I'll transition to it. And I eventually got to a mix of it. He comes back afterwards. He's like, dude, I don't know how you got from there to there, but that was pretty sweet.
Nice,
We
nice.
went from Ignition back into country and allowed us to kind of do our thing.
You know, on the band thing, that transition, I don't remember who it was, but it was at one of the dinners during Mobile Beat Las Vegas. I don't remember who I was sitting beside. God, who was this now? They mentioned working with a band. And Jared, I don't know if you did this or not. And if you didn't, take it to your next event. But I've worked with a couple of bands as well. And the tip that I was given sitting next to this guy at dinner in Vegas was find out what the band's first song is going to be. And then you can look it up, see what BPM they're going to be starting at roughly. I mean, there are bands, they might be running it slightly different. And then get your music back to that tempo and have the drummer beat mix out of your tune into their first song.
That is awesome. I don't think this was the band to do that though.
And granted, I worked with one band, and I suggest. I've worked with a variety of bands over the years, but I remember suggesting that to one band a little while ago, and the guy kind of looked at me and went, "I'm like, okay, never mind. Sorry, dealing with the wrong band here."
I know we're getting at the end of the show here, but this is something I would like to come back to. How do we differ from bands? How do we compete with bands? And how do we work with bands? I think that would be a great discussion because there's still a lot of things that I have questions and I want to know when it comes to bands, but there's definitely some things that I'd like to share when it comes to bands. So
yes, my short answer is embrace the hell out of it, but let's dig into that
cool.
Next time, maybe next week. Are we back on next week? John hasn't off yet, has he?
Yeah, I think we are on next week. I'm actually going to be in Las Vegas next week. But from what I know, we're still having this show happen. So it might be pre-recorded, might be live. We'll find out.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. Give us some feedback because I had some pretty harsh critique for Jer on our last show, and I I want this to be a valuable use of everybody's time. So please send us some feedback privately in the Disc Jockey news page, whatever it might be. Thanks so much, everyone.
See ya.
Cheers.